Can we talk about something that many women feel but rarely talk about or say out loud? If your desire for intimacy has changed in midlife and you don't quite understand why, you are not alone. And there is nothing wrong with you. Let me say that again. There is nothing wrong with you. And today we're having a real, honest, and respectful conversation about hormones, intimacy, and connection. Welcome to Fit and Fueled by Faith with your host Stacy, where I share and talk about how to care for the body, renew the mind, and strengthen our soul God's way. That's right, my sister. So today, welcome to Hello Hormones. We continue our series, if you're new here, where the female body meets faith. So today's conversation is a little bit more personal, as I mentioned in the opening, but it's also really important because believe me, nobody who wants to talk about intimacy and a low libido or lack of desire. We're talking about intimacy and desire in midlife. So naming the experience, my sister. So maybe you've noticed, okay, so these are things we need to be right before any change. We need to be aware and notice. Less interested in intimacy. Yeah. Feeling disconnected, increased fatigue, feeling touched out or overwhelmed. And maybe you've wondered, what's wrong with me? Yeah, that's right. Like, what's wrong with me? Right? During this journey, you've probably been saying this. You might say this every day. Like, what is wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? And then you might have that person in your life, like, what's wrong with you? And they're feeling a little like, and you're like, there's nothing wrong with me. Believe me, I still love you. So my sister, what's happening physically? Okay, so we talk about this. Our estrogen, right, is declining. So what that affects our comfort and responsiveness. Testosterone shifts. Yes, ladies, we have testosterone, and that shifts, which impacts desire. So think about it when we had a normal cycle, and if you can recall back in the day, like mid-cycle, you might feel a little bit more like desire because that was our mid-cycle, right? Our ovaries were kicking in, and that was our ovulation phase, right? Our testosterone rises during ovulation. And when we don't have ovulation anymore, guess what? We don't have that kick, that boost, that intimacy boost. So, yeah, we have testosterone, ladies, if you didn't know. And of course, cortisol. We love cortisol. Who doesn't love cortisol? Stress hormone lowers our libido. So you combine that, estrogen declines, our testosterone shifts, cortisol, stress. Yes. And not even top of that, fatigue and sleep disruption reduces capacity for connection. Because how about you, when you're so exhausted, fatigued, like, I don't want to be touched, or having a hot flash, like, hun, sorry, like, I need to get away from me. I'm burning up. I'm burning up for you, baby. Okay. It's one of those days again. I love to sing. Your body isn't broken, my sister. Just so you know, your body isn't broken. It is just responding to change. And we talked about this, right? The physical body, it's responding. Our body does things to keep us safe, even though we're gaining weight and we're holding on to fat because our body's in stress mode and our body wants stability. That's all it wants. And it's just working, doing its job, whether we like it or not. So, yeah, but you're not broken. Hear me out. You are not broken. So the emotional and mental load, my sister, as I always say, midlife woman carries a lot, right? We have a big load emotionally, mentally, physically. We have family responsibilities. We have work. We have mental, emotional load, as I mentioned. And connection requires presence, right? And many women are depleted. How about you? I can't focus sometimes, let alone try to be present in the moment, if you know what I mean. Because my brain won't shut off. It's scattered. So you feel me? I feel you. Let's tie in the faith and intimacy piece. Intimacy was designed by God. Yes, it was designed by God. That's why God made man and woman. He knew what he was doing so we can procreate. Right? He said, go out in the world and be fruitful and multiply. Yes, multiply. So God created us. He designed us, right? God, intimacy was designed by God, right? Not something to feel shame about. So let's go to a Bible verse here. Song of Solomon 1 2. It's beautiful. Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for your love is more delightful than wine. There is beauty, connection, and sacredness and intimacy with marriage, my sister. Yes, there is. God made man and woman for each other. But, yes, I know he designed intimacy, so we have to understand why this happens. Maybe God's giving us, there's a time where we need to take a break. There's a time to stop multiplying and a time to dry up. No, seriously, but hey, God made us, so he knows best. God makes everything good, right? So we can't argue with that. With God. Okay, my friends. So let's continue. So again, there is beauty, connection, and sacredness and intimacy within marriage. Reconnection without pressure. So this is not about forcing anything. It's about communication. And let me tell you, that is key, because we need to communicate, because men, they feel loved when there's intimacy, right? Men love intimacy. That's how they feel loved, right? But and they can start thinking like, you don't love me, like what's wrong? And so communication is key. And I have to say, thank goodness my husband, he did one Sunday, a couple of months ago, he watched this documentary with me, and I said, please watch this with me, because I needed him to understand like what women go through, what I am going through, so he could have, not say pity on me, but have some sympathy, empathy, and understand that it's not him, that it's me, but because I'm going through things. So I think that's key. I wish, we could always say wishful thinking, but we can never change things. But like maybe moving forward, that, when they're teaching girls about menses and cycles and things like that, like I think like men and women, we need to know about each other, right? Especially men need to know about women because they think we're crazy, and to understand us better, right? I definitely think there'd be a lot less divorces. Think of when divorces happen usually. Midlife. Maybe you're going through one right now, and ask yourself why you're going through this divorce. Could perimenopause be a factor? You know? So, and it's sad because I heard a lot of doctors and people say, like imagine there'd be a lot less divorces if women first of all understood themselves and the husband understood the wife as well. So it's a learning curve where both husband and wife need to understand. So, and I understand, ladies, sometimes the husband, how do you tell your husband something that they can't understand? I talked about this last episode about trying to explain something. Oh, I love Jesus so much, and people are looking at you like you're crazy because they haven't experienced it. So it's hard for people to understand you. They don't experience it. They're just looking at their loss, like, oh, well, you're doing this to me, and I have needs as well. So communication is key. Emotional connection, right? So it's not just physical. Granted, the physical is great, the intimacy, but there has to be an emotional connection. Reducing stress, because that's key. I don't know about you when you're stressed. There's just, how can you be present? Supporting your body, right? So we talk about supporting our body through nutrition and movements and prayer and all those good things. And giving yourself grace. Yes. So start with connection and not expectation, my sister. So with reflection questions, here we go. Are you ready? Are you ready? So listen, pay attention. If you're on the road, of course, keep your eyes on the road. 1, have I been placing pressure on myself instead of offering grace? Grace. 2, what would open, honest communication look like in my relationship? That's key. You're not being afraid to speak up and learning, get your partner learning with you. And 3, where do I need support physically, emotionally, or spiritually, or all the above? Right? How much I need him physically, I need emotionally, spiritually, I got God. I'll read those again. One, have I been placing pressure on myself instead of offering grace? Two, what would open, honest communication look like in my relationship? And three, where do I need support? Physically, emotionally, or spiritually, or all the above. So again, my sister, you're not broken, you're not alone, and this part of your life matters too, even though nobody's speaking about it, but we're right here talking about it today. And I know it could be feeling a little weird because nobody wants to talk about intimacy, but it is a fact. And I've talked to other women my age and the same thing. So at least I know on that part, I'm not the only one. Because there's a lot of women I talk to and they're like, oh yeah. Um, like I said, maybe there's just a season for a break, a season to just, and maybe then after that, we talk about the past season, a renewal, right? And then our relationship will grow and our intimacy will be even better. Sometimes you take a break from something, you step away for a while, you come back and you're like, oh wow. So, anyways, it's all good. So, if this episode again, my sister, encouraged you, consider sharing with a woman who may need to hear this too as well. Because if you're afraid to talk about it and it's not being said and you're going through it, I'm sure you have a friend or a sister or somebody who's dealing with the same thing and she's not speaking up because it could be embarrassing, right? Who wants to talk about that? Especially, we don't talk about it because we don't want to embarrass ourselves or our husbands, you know, but in reality, it's what's happening, while we're going through this, men are going through something too, because they have to be patient with us. They have to try to understand us and, find the grace within themselves to be patient with us and understanding. So it's a two-way street here, and, and love them in other ways, right? When we can't love them the way they want to be loved, right? Yes, whether it's through food, cooking them some nice food, filling their belly with their favorite meal. Okay, my sister. So this was a Fit and Fueled by Faith, and this has been Hello Hormones series, where the female body meets faith. Yes, and where we talk about all kinds of things. Obviously, this episode proves it. There's nothing we're not going to talk about. You know, we talk about it politely, respectfully, honestly, and it's all good. We want to keep those secrets. We don't talk about personal affairs, but we're all dealing with this because of those changes, which I mentioned before, right? Our estrogen, our testosterone, and our cortisol, and fatigue, and sleep, and all those things have a play in why we feel distant with our partner, or the lack of desire, low libido, you name it. So again, it's not you, my sister. You are not broken. You're not behind. You are becoming body and spirit. So please, again, feel free to share this with another woman or sister that needs to hear this. Please share it. It's caring. And like, subscribe, comment if you haven't done so. Review. Give this podcast a rating review if you haven't done so. And yeah, my sister, as always, go out in the world, share love, make peace, and be happy. Yes, we can find the joy in all things. And glorify the Lord in your thoughts, words, and actions. And you know what? Yes, I love you. I love you. But Jesus, yes, Jesus loves you more. What a blessing. Amen. So till the next time, my sister, take care and God bless you. Mwah.